Welcome back to Focus Today. Hey, a delight and an honor to have back with us our good friend Dan Celia. In fact, we are so excited about airing his television show daily now on the Dove Television Network. He's on daily from 1 to 3 right here on the Dove TV, and he takes phone calls, and he's really terrific. And I want to encourage you to check it out, financialissues.org. Dan, good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Purry, good to see you. Thanks for having me on. And you know, Purry, I said this on the air not long ago, a week or so ago, but you know, you adding our second hour to your lineup, and I said to all the viewers that it just shows the commitment that you guys have to minister in every way you can to your viewers, and the idea that you listened to them, and in response to that, you added our second hour, and I'm so grateful, and I sure appreciate it, brother.
Well, thank you, but I got to tell you, people love your program, and you're slowly really building an incredible audience because you provide such a wonderful service. And I want to say to our viewers, if you haven't seen Financial Issues, it's weekdays 1 to 3 o'clock here on the Dove Television Network. All right, Dan, it's been kind of an interesting time. After the first week of the new administration, the market closed above 20. Then we came through last weekend and things were a little bumpy. We're down below again. Let's go back to just week one, the first week of the new administration. He seems to be going after building America's business again. Am I right?
You are right. And that's one of the things that this president promised he was going to do is reach out to industry, reach out to businesses and talk to them and find out exactly what they're looking for, how he can help, what we can do as far as policy goes to make sure that it's as easy and as equitable for everybody as possible for them to bring jobs here to America or to make sure they stay here in America. And he's done a great job at that.
The first week, Dan, he reached out to corporate CEOs, automakers, and union leaders, and they all walked away from the White House smiling. What's that tell you?
I know. It tells me that there were, particularly with the union leaders, I think we saw a miracle right before our eyes happening. You know, forget Republican president. There hasn't been too many presidents that have invited after they were elected. You know how it goes. I'm in now. I don't need their support, don't need their vote. Now, he never had their support. He had the support, I believe, of the rank and file, but he didn't have support of the leadership. But he wanted to talk to them. He wanted to know what they need and to give them some insights into his plans and models that was going to help them. And they got on board so quickly. It was amazing. It was amazing.
The market's backed off a little bit, not much, but it's down just a tad. Does the market feel the president's moving too fast and fulfilling his promises?
Yeah, you know what? I think that it was very interesting, Perry. Yesterday I read an article talking about the markets moving down on political uncertainty. And I said on the air, political uncertainty, like, what? I mean, it's been 12 days. How can we possibly have political uncertainty? If anything, we have certainty. You know, I said to Neil Cavuto, I was on Fox Business last week, and he asked me about, you know, the Dow hitting 20,000. I said, you know what? I believe that people are excited, not in what the president is doing, but just in the fact that he's actually doing something. He's not just talking. He's actually doing something. He's bringing people and he's talking to them. He's making things happen. He's signing. He's done more in the first 12 days than some presidents have done in the first 12 months.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, last weekend, of course, you know, it was quite controversial with all of the travel issues and safety issues, and some people interpreted it as a travel ban, so the market went down. Today, it's been replaced with, he's announced his new Supreme Court Justice nominee. And it looks like the market's kind of pleased with that. How much does national emotion play into the market?
Oh, a great deal, Perry, a great deal. You know, enthusiasm, optimism, and consumer confidence is incredibly important to the markets. it always leads to good things in business, which obviously impact the markets in a positive way. And I think I said this morning on the program, I said that, I believe that we're seeing the fact that because the markets were up considerably, rallying, and I said, I think it's a function of people saying, here he goes again. He's actually doing something he promised he was going to do. That whole business of Supreme Court, a conservative Supreme Court, wasn't just talking points to get votes. He's really doing it.
He's delivered it.
Yeah.
He did sign some EOs that went after regulations. He wants to deregulate a lot of things. And I can tell you this, I got a nice email blast from the new chairman of the FCC, Chairman Pai, and we're delighted with him being chairman. And he's deregulating some things for us broadcasters. That has got to be a big boost to the economy, don't you think?
Oh, it's huge. The regulatory burden that's both on small business and large corporations in every business walk of life has been incredible. And just the idea that, he's going to cut 2 regulations or so for every regulation is huge, because so much of the regulation is either duplicity or it's just unnecessary. So much regulation, I believe, that we've seen over the last 8 years has been so much about social control and so much about bigger government, creating more government, and not about what is good for the employer, for the business, for American workers. So I think there's a great deal of relief. Even in those that didn't support this president, I think they're very relieved.
Yeah, they got to be. Dan, some commentators are saying that one of the items that could boost our economy the most will be the concentration on self-sufficiency on energy. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think that I believe that's true, but probably for different reasons than they think. So I think that our growing our energy capacity, which really isn't very hard to do because we already know where it is, we have it, and in most of those areas we're drilling, or we've already drilled. So I don't think it's going to be hard. I think, though, what it means is it means a lot for industry. So one of the factors, Perry, when we look at companies that move overseas or move out of the country, or even companies that aren't American companies that are working overseas, wherever they are, that are working globally, one of the biggest problems they have is an inconsistency with a flow of energy. Not only is it inconsistent, it can be very expensive, and it can be interrupted on a very regular basis. And it's very, very difficult to maintain productivity levels. And not to mention the workers, most workers around the globe, particularly in developing nations and third world countries, aren't as productive as the American workers. Now, they compensate by hiring more of them because it's inexpensive labor. But I believe, and I wrote about this a couple years ago, I believe that cheap energy and an abundance of energy far outweighs the benefits of cheaper labor. And I think we're going to start seeing the impact of that in our economy.
That makes total sense. There was some pushback on the president's suggestion of a 20% tariff tax on goods coming in from Mexico. At the end of the day, the consumer pays for that, not Mexico. What's your take on that one?
You know what, my take on it is it's a non-event. Here's why. First of all, I believe, and I'm probably the only one you're going to hear this from, but here's what I believe. Is it a tax on the consumer? Sure it is. We're going to pay more. But if you're paying more for it, chances are you're not going to buy it. So, and if you're not going to buy it, those companies aren't going to be sending it here. And if those companies aren't sending it here, they're going to do something about the tariffs, and the trade deal is going to start to get fair. That's what Donald Trump knows. He understands that. So the consumers aren't going to pay more for it because we're going to go to the alternative that is either made here or in America, or for some reason doesn't have the tariff on it because we have a fair trade deal with that particular country. So the argument from the left and from the leftist economist is it's going to hurt our economy. I don't believe it's going to hurt our economy at all. It's going to hurt those companies, yes. It's going to hurt them. But it's not going to hurt the American consumers because instead of buying XYZ product, we're just going to buy ABC product that is very close to being the same and is less expensive. So I think that's how it's going to go.
You know, that is a great explanation because I think everybody just got on the emotional side of both sides of that fence and didn't really explain it the way you did. That's terrific, Dan. Thank you. You know, given that scenario, you would think then automakers in Mexico may have to come home.
Exactly. And that's it, Perry. So, you know, people say, well, he's running. This is very calculated. Look, if you're going to negotiate, you want to negotiate from strength. Right. And sometimes you've got to do some things to develop the strength and get the negotiating edge. And that's exactly what we're watching.
All right, one other quick question before I let you go. He did announce his Supreme Court nominee last night, and you know where this is going to go. This is going to be battle royal in the Senate. And we're also seeing the pushback on some of his cabinet members, the Democrats not showing up to committee meetings and all that. Does that impact the market at all, or do you think it's going to reach a saturation point where the American people say, look, we've had enough of this nonsense, let's get on with life?
I think we're getting real close to that point, the saturation point. And no, I don't think it's going to impact the economy. Not this. This is not going to impact the economy. I think deep down inside, everybody knows, from at least from business standpoint, everybody knows that this is going to be our guy. He is going to get nominated. I read today that there are 6 Democrats, 6 out of the 10 that are coming up for re-election in 2 years that are going to vote to nominate him in the Senate. So. Listen, this is all about Mitch McConnell. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be early March or late March, depending on the battle. But it's going to happen, and it's not going to impact the markets.
All right. You're a delight, friend, and an inspiration. Let me encourage our viewers again. Dan Celia's show, he's CEO of Financial Issues Stewardship Ministries, but his show, Financial Issues, is seen daily, weekdays, on the Dove television network from 1 to 3. We've added the second hour because you folks like it. Tell your friends and join it. You can go to his website, financialissues.org. Thanks, buddy. Hey, you're going to be at the NRB?
I'm going to be there. I'll hunt you down.
You owe me a hamburger.
I'll do.
All right, see you then. All right, we'll be right back.